James and Evelyn had a love story that felt like it was written in the stars. They met in their early 20s, a chance they encountered at a local bookstore where Evelyn reached for the same poetry book James had been eyeing. Their hands touched, their eyes met, and from that moment their lives became intertwined. They built a life filled with love, laughter, and shared dreams. James adored Evelyn's wit and her unshakable kindness. Evelyn admired James' quiet strength and his endless patience. Through every challenge, job changes, and health scares, they held on to each other, always choosing love. As the years passed, their hair turned silver and their steps slowed, but their love only deepened. Neighbors would often see them on their evening walks, fingers still laced together as if they were newlyweds. I hope we grow old like them, younger couples would say. But time, as it always does, moved forward. Evelyn's health began to decline. It started with moments of forgetfulness. Then came the fatigue, and soon she struggled to do the things she once loved. The diagnosis was terminal cancer. James sat beside her in the doctor's office, his heart breaking in silence as she held his hand and her usual calm grace. "You'll be okay," she told him. "You've always been the strong one." From that day on, James dedicated himself to Evelyn's care. He cooked her favorite meals, even when she could only manage a few bites. He read her poetry, the same book they'd reached for all those years ago. Her body grew free, but her spirit never wavered. One evening, as she lay in bed, Evelyn looked at James with a smile that carried all the love they had shared for decades. "Thank you for loving me so well," she whispered. Her eyes closed, her breathing slowed, and she slipped away with James holding her hand. The house felt unbearably quiet in the days that followed. Every corner held a memory, her laughter echoing from the kitchen, her humming from the garden, her scent still lingering on the pillow. Grief swept over James like an unstoppable tide. He wept for days, unable to sleep, unable to eat. But one morning, as he sat in their sunlight kitchen, he had a profound realization. "I'm the one feeling this pain, not her." Evelyn was no longer suffering. She was free from pain, free from struggle. The weight of grief shifted. Instead of despair, he felt a quiet, steady peace, and he was happy. He smiled for the first time in days. "If this is the price I pay for loving you, Evelyn," he said aloud, his voice cracking with emotion, "then I'll pay it gladly." He realized that love doesn't end with loss, it continues quietly in the memories, in the little day routines, and in the gratitude that he got to be the one who bore the weight of sorrow so that Evelyn never had to. From that day forward, James walked a little lighter. He still missed her, of course, but he honored her by living with joy. He tended the garden she loved, read poetry aloud to himself, and on evenings when the sky turned cold, he took their familiar walk alone, but never truly alone. Evelyn was there in his heart every step of the way. Love, after all, is not measured by the absence of pain, but by the willingness to feel it when the person you love no longer can.